welcome back to another Just 5 Mins. Will it be just 5 minutes? Probably not. But anyway, how are you? And hope you're all well out there in the internet land. So what have we got today? Well, we all love a large language model, don't we? You know, whatever your flavour of ice cream out there is. You know, and there's lots of them. I love different flavours of ice cream, even though I don't really, or not allowed to have ice cream anymore. But sad life, isn't it? But anyway, moving on, what have we got? Msty. Play Msty for me. MSTY. I'll put the links below because it's a funny named sort of version. But essentially, and there's a few of these around. I did a video or a podcast a few months ago. I think there was another UI for running local large language models. Okay, but you still had to do a bit of faff and a bit of setup and all those sorts of wonderful things, which wasn't too difficult. So, you know, you can already do things like with Ollama running locally. Ollama's brilliant. Definitely. And I, even on, you know, a relatively low spec machine, I can run a Docker container and get like things like the DeepSeek R1 model working and a few of the other like Llama 3.2 I think I had. I think there's some more later versions of that. But anyway, the point being, running local large language models. But there's some obviously clever tricks, because unless you've got, you know, a stash of cash that you've bought, lots of NVIDIA sort of specialized cards in your PC, laptop, whatever, then it's not going to work. But that's where the wonderful world of quantization comes in, which we'll delve deeper into in another podcast and a video, actually. In fact, I'm going to do, because we're all obviously experts now, aren't we? You know, we're all AI scientists. You know, I feel like I've got one of those sort of badges that says, you know, I'm an AI scientist. You know, the fact that you have to wear a badge says something, doesn't it? Anyway, but the point being, I have actually been delving a little bit deeper into how vectors work and how the vector search works. You know, because large language models, not to underestimate the cleverness around them, but essentially they're just literally, that's where you get the so many billion parameters. They're just collections of vectors. But it's that the clever bit is the vectors, how they've been vectorized. So a phrase or a word or whatever doesn't just get turned into numbers arbitrarily. It's obviously trained with nearest neighbor algorithms and all sorts of bits and pieces. So we're going to go into that a little bit further in another podcast and a video. And also a little bit about quantization and how that has enabled, you know, reasonable working with large language models locally. And there's a whole thing in that as well, of course. But anyway, back to Msty. So as I've mentioned, Ollama, and there's is it LM Studio from NVIDIA, and I've been using both of those for a little while now. They're great. You know, you can run, like I said, DeepSeek R1 and a few of the other models, things like Phi 4 from Microsoft, which is actually really good. Llama 3.2, 3.3 or whatever they're up to, that's pretty good. There's Llama Vision as well, so you can do local generation of image generation, that type of stuff. So there's a lot of clever stuff that you can do. But the great thing is with Msty, it provides essentially an interface that you can run locally. So when you go to things like ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever your flavor of ice cream is, you know, it's got that sort of environment, but a little bit more as well. So for one, you don't have to go through the setup with, say, Docker and Ollama and understand all that and get it all connected. You can literally download Msty, MSTY, on Windows, Apple, and Linux as well. So nobody's left out. So that's quite a nice thing. But again, it will handle everything for you. And funny enough, that's a little bit how the NVIDIA LM Studio sort of worked. It was quite nice for that. It's sort of a all-in-one environment that your models and everything are downloaded for you. And by the way, yes, we have got over 5 minutes. Anyway, but the point being is you can get this set up really quickly. Get the model or models that you need running locally on like I said, I don't have any fancy hardware. I've got one of these mini PCs. It's a great name, Boss Game. It's just like a no brand sort of. I think it's an AMD Ryzen or something in there, but it was way less than 200 quid GBP, whatever that is in other languages. But my goodness, it's an incredible little machine. It's got 16 gig of RAM, but you can upgrade it to 32 gig, which I might be doing over the next few weeks, months, to get a little bit more umph out of it. But you can drive 2 monitors off it. Anyway, am I selling a... No, I'm not. I've got no affiliation links or anything. But anyway, I'm just trying to explain. That's a really mini little PC. And it runs Msty quite well with DeepSeek R1, Llama, Llama Vision, 5.4 that I've mentioned. And it does a pretty reasonable job. And the interface is really nice. It's just what you'd expect. You can ask questions. In fact, like I say, you can unplug the internet and still you'll then see that nothing is going out of your network. So everything that you do, say, or whatever is all local. Okay, you can, and there's nothing to stop you using the same interface with things like ChatGPT, Gemini. You can actually hook those up if you need to and want to. But the other good thing that you can do is run alongside. It's got side-by-side models. So you can have like Llama 3 point whatever running with 5.4, running with DeepSeek, if you've got the space and the power to do that. But certainly you can run those models basically all locally side by side and and it has the same prompt, and you'll see what the differences are. So it's quite good to compare things a little bit as well. So that's quite an interesting thing, but it really is actually a nice interface for, especially, as I say, in the past it's been a little bit fiddly setting up Docker containers, Llama or whatever. Not that they're really complex, but needs a bit of work. So anyway, that's what I've got for this time around. I'll be delving deeper into vectors, vector search and quantization and stuff, which is it's really interesting. It'll obviously be a light touch because, again, I really am not a data scientist. But anyway, it's always fascinating to know how some of these things work. So that's what I've got for this time around. So thank you. Have a good day or week, and I will catch you on the next one.